really seeing is them coming to us, because I think they figured out that this upcoming election is going to be an election about urban issues. It's going to be about congestion, it's going to be about housing, it's going to be about infrastructure. And so I consider today kind of the first pitch in what will be a long ball game, but it was a good first pitch, and I look forward to hearing more from the Conservatives, and I'm very, very excited that Canada's big city mayors have decided to host a leaders debate during the federal election, and that Thomas Mulcair and Elizabeth May have already confirmed.
Do you think the federal parties are playing lip service, or do you think this is legitimate, that they are actually interested?
No, I think it's actually legitimate, and I think the change that we've really seen over the course of the last two federal budgets is that the Conservative Party has suddenly figured out that they owe their majority to cities. And the fact that we now finally, after so many years of lobbying, have a permanent national transit fund at the federal level is a really big deal. It's not enough, and it starts too late, but they have set the floor. They've set the floor for the other parties to be able to overcome, because Canadians who live in cities, that's 80% of us, are concerned about these issues. And I think that the government and the opposition parties have finally figured that out, but also they figured out it's the key to their electoral victory. That may sound cynical, but it's not only the right thing to do, it'll help you win.
So what happens to Calgary if the funding, if the commitments don't come through 10 years from now?
Well, you know, Calgary, like every city in Canada, has an enormous unfunded infrastructure deficit, an enormous one. In transit alone, we need $13 billion over the next 30 years. I've managed to find $1 billion. It's a start, 12 to go. But we need to build these things. They're not optional. We have to build the BRTs, the busways, the LRT lines. We have to invest in our water and wastewater, and in particular, in every city in Canada, the thing we've been ignoring for way too long. It's time for a real discussion around housing. And so, for now, these things are vital. And our provincial governments across the country are starting to wake up to that. Municipal governments have always known that. Now it's time for the federal government.
Mayor Nenshi, CFIB came out with this study today saying you'd have money for that if you just pay your workers less, because their study said that private sector workers make about 22% less on average than their counterparts that work for cities.
I love good data, and good data helps us, and I love that CFIB is attempting to do this. The problem is bad data makes things worse. So for the City of Calgary's perspective, they surveyed 5,000 employees at the City of Calgary. I got 20,000 employees, well 15,000 plus part-time. Who did they look at? How did they do the calculations? If you read the study, they themselves argue that their data is broken. There's no more long-form census. They're using the National Household Survey, which everyone knows is crap data. And frankly, I used to be a professor, and if this kind of work got submitted to me, I'd send it back. So I love that the CFIB is doing it. It's super helpful work, but it's for a political agenda, and I'd rather see real data.
Mayor Nenshi, the NDP released their proposal for cities that calls for an increase in the gas tax by a cent to rent the cities, and an additional $1.5 billion, I think, by the end of the term. I'm wondering what you think of their.
It's a start. It's a good start, a very good start. It really brings forward some of the commitments that the Conservative government has made. We will be able to put that money, should they win an election, we'll be able to put that money to work right away. But it doesn't fully address our concerns around housing, nor our broader concerns around infrastructure. You know, if I may just for a moment, we have these national standards on wastewater. They are unbelievably expensive to do. For the City of Calgary alone, meeting these standards will mean an increase of about $500 million of investment every year. So obviously, we're looking at very, very, very large numbers that we can't rely only on the property tax or on utility fees to be able to pay. The good news is they figured that out. The bad news is none of the parties yet are in a place where people can really feel comfortable that they'll have the things they need to get to work, to have safe, clean water, to have a clean environment, and to have decent housing every single day.
Mayor, can we just ask you about a Calgary-specific question?
Sure.
The Langevin Bridge.
Yeah.
Should it be renamed following the TRC report?
You know what's really interesting is today I was sitting down with Kevin Page, who of course works in the Privy Council office for a long time, which is located in the Prime Minister's office, which is in the Langevin building. Same guy. And so historical issues like this are always difficult. But I am also always open to having conversations about this, and I'd like to hear a case for that renaming.
Any more questions on FCM matters?
All right, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.